history is written in blood, mud, and iron, if you crave visceral, large-scale epics where the stakes are life or death, this list is for you. Welcome back to Screen Curator. Here are 10 unrelenting masterpieces that belong on your watch list right now. We are kicking off our countdown with a film that feels less like a historical recreation and more like a fever dream pulled straight from a blood-soaked tapestry, Robert Eggers' absolute masterpiece, The Northman. This is the primal raw DNA of the classic revenge tragedy, following Prince Amleth as he tracks the treacherous uncle who murdered his father and stole his mother. But instead of the clean, sanitized history we so often get from modern Hollywood, this film plunges you directly into the mud, ash, and terrifying spiritual mysticism of 10th century Scandinavia. Shot on gorgeous 35mm film, every single frame feels heavy with destiny. The action here is savage and relentless, highlighted by a breathtaking, single-take berserker raid that is so meticulously choreographed, you will practically feel the freezing rain and flying mud in your face. Backed by a booming, throat-singing soundscape, it presents a world where fate is an inescapable physical weight. If you crave epic cinema that refuses to compromise its vision, treating the brutal reality of its subjects with total, uncompromising sincerity, this is your next obsession. Prepare yourself for a relentless descent into fury. Slide smoothly into number 9 on our countdown with Ridley Scott's defining masterpiece, Gladiator. This is a film that doesn't just depict history, it hurls you headfirst into the mud, blood, and ashes of an empire on the brink of collapse. At its heart is General Maximus Decimus Meridius, Rome's greatest warrior, betrayed by the petulant, power-hungry Commodus. Stripped of his rank and sold into slavery, Maximus must fight his way up from the dirt of provincial arenas to the grand stage of the Colosseum itself. Ridley Scott famously stripped away the polished, sanitized tropes of classic Hollywood epics, delivering a gritty, hyper-visceral experience where every swing of a sword carries the genuine weight of life and death. The tension is absolutely relentless, driven by the unforgettable contrast between Russell Crowe's quiet, honorable dignity and Joaquin Phoenix's terrifyingly volatile, improvised villainy. It is a massive, thundering epic that somehow feels incredibly intimate, balancing colossal scale with a deeply personal quest for vengeance. If you want to experience cinema that is as emotionally devastating as it is physically breathtaking, this is the ultimate gold standard. Coming in at number 8, you absolutely need to experience David Michôd's bruising medieval masterpiece, The King. This film completely strips away the glossy, romanticized pageantry of typical historical dramas to deliver a raw, suffocating look at the psychological toll of power. We follow Timothée Chalamet as Hal, a wayward, rebellious prince thrust onto the throne as King Henry V. Instantly, he is plunged into a treacherous snake pit of palace conspiracy and a brutal high-stakes war with France. What makes this an essential watch is its astonishing commitment to visceral, physical realism. The climactic battle of Agincourt is not a heroic, choreographed dance. It is a chaotic, terrifying mud-soaked nightmare where men literally drown under the weight of their own armor. Backed by Nicholas Patel's haunting, woodwind-heavy score and a sound design that makes every blow feel bone-shattering, the tension never lets up. Add in an eccentric, deeply menacing turn by Robert Pattinson as the French Dauphin, and you have a gripping, zero-compromise epic that demands to be seen on the biggest screen possible. It is a spectacular ride of politics, blood, and heavy crowns. Coming in at number 7 on our list, you absolutely need to experience the sweeping grandeur of Ridley Scott's masterpiece, Kingdom of Heaven, specifically the 3-hour director's cut. Forget the heavily compromised theatrical release. This version is a towering achievement of historical cinema. We follow Balian, a grieving French blacksmith who journeys to the Holy Land to find salvation, only to find himself defending Jerusalem from overwhelming forces. This is a world of mud, blood, and blinding desert sun, captured with jaw-dropping practical scale. The film contrasts the cold, saturated winters of Europe with the blazing golden light of the Middle Eastern desert, wrapping you completely in its atmosphere. What makes this epic so special is its refusal to paint the Crusades in simple black and white, opting instead for a deeply mature look at faith and moral integrity. The tension is spectacular, anchored by a mesmerizing performance by Edward Norton as the masked, dying King Baldwin IV. If you crave massive, visceral siege battles that feel utterly real because they were built on physical full-scale sets, this is the ultimate watch. It is a gorgeous, thought-provoking journey that earns every single second of its colossal runtime. Coming in at number 6 is Peter Weir's seafaring triumph, Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. If you want to experience the absolute zenith of historical authenticity, this is the journey you must take. The film drops us directly onto the HMS Surprise, a British warship hunted by a far superior French privateer during the Napoleonic Wars. This is not a computer-generated spectacle. It is a masterclass in physical tactile tension. We're famously shot on the open ocean and inside massive water tanks to make you feel every lurch of the sea and every suffocating inch of life below deck. Instead of idealized action, you are subjected to the bone-shaking reality of naval warfare, where the terrifying shriek of splitting oak and the concussive roar of cannon fire feel entirely frighteningly real. At its heart, the film thrives on the captivating dynamic between Russell Crowe's brilliant, devoted Captain Jack Aubrey and Paul Bettany's idealistic ship surgeon. It is a beautifully crafted look at leadership under pressure, standing as a testament to what cinema can achieve when it values physical detail over digital shortcuts. For anyone seeking a high-stakes historical epic that refuses to compromise, this is an essential watch. Sliding into our number 5 spot, you absolutely need to witness Ridley Scott's criminally underrated historical masterpiece, The Last Duel. Set in the mud and iron of 14th century France, this film is a towering achievement in high-stakes, big-screen storytelling. It centers on a brutal accusation made by Marguerite de Carouge against her husband's former friend, Jacques Legris, leading to the last legally sanctioned trial by combat in French history. What makes this cinematic ride so uniquely thrilling is its brilliant perspective-shifting structure. We see the events unfold through 3 distinct viewpoints, revealing how pride, power, and societal expectations warp the truth. Ridley Scott shoots this world with a cold, grit-stained realism that makes every castle wall and iron helm feel incredibly lived in. But it is the zero-compromise stakes that will leave you breathless. If Marguerite's husband loses this duel, the law dictates that she will be burned at the stake for perjury. The climactic battle is an absolute marvel of choreography, captured with a frantic multi-camera setup that keeps the combat raw and immediate. For anyone craving a historical epic with actual weight and jaw-dropping performances, this is an essential watch. Coming in at number 4 on our list is a cinematic tempest of unmatched scale, Akira Kurosawa's crowning late-career masterpiece, Ran. This sweeping operatic reimagining of King Lear transposes Shakespeare's classic tragedy to feudal Japan, following an aging warlord who abdicates his throne to his 3 sons, only to watch his entire legacy dissolve into a blood-soaked nightmare of betrayal and greed. Kurosawa does not just show you a war, he paints a living, breathing tapestry of human folly. The production scale here is almost unfathomable, featuring 1,400 vibrant, hand-dyed costumes clashing against the earth, and an actual full-scale castle built on the slopes of Mount Fuji specifically to be burned to the ground. The film's true brilliance lies in how it frames this tragedy, often muting the agonizing screams of battle to let a haunting, melancholic orchestral score wash over the screen. It creates a distant, almost divine perspective on the sheer madness of men. For anyone seeking a historical epic that marries staggering, practical filmmaking with a deeply emotional narrative, this is an absolute masterpiece that will leave you utterly breathless. Coming in at number 3 on our countdown is the breathtaking First World War masterpiece, 1917. Director Sam Mendes crafts a cinematic tightrope walk that doesn't just show you the horrors of the Great War, it traps you inside them. The premise is brilliantly simple yet agonizingly tense. 2 young British soldiers are tasked with crossing enemy lines to deliver a single message. If they fail, 1,600 men, including one of their own brothers, will march directly into a deadly ambush. What makes 1917 an absolute must-watch is how it unfolds. Shot by the legendary Roger Deakins to appear as one continuous, unbroken take, the camera never leaves our protagonists. You feel every gasp of mud-soaked air, every sudden tripwire, and the crushing weight of a ticking clock. There are no safe cuts or theatrical pauses. The film operates in a relentless real-time panic that turns history into a white-knuckle survival thriller. It is a staggering feat of technical choreography and deep human emotion that demands to be experienced. If you want a historical epic that keeps your heart in your throat from the first frame, put this at the top of your watch list. For our second-to-last entry, we are confronting the absolute pinnacle of visceral war cinema. You need to experience the relentless, suffocating mastery of All Quiet on the Western Front. This is not a film that celebrates heroism. It is a stunningly photographed descent into the sheer futility of combat, stripping away any illusion of military glory. We follow Paul, an idealistic young recruit whose patriotic euphoria is instantly shattered by the industrial-scale slaughter of the First World War. Director Edward Berger eschews clean computer graphics, opting instead for massive practical trench sets built in the freezing mud to ensure every ounce of terror feels devastatingly real. The camera remains locked at eye level, trapping you alongside these doomed young men as the earth literally explodes around them. It is an incredibly intense tactile sensory assault where the chilling 3-note musical motif and bleak ash-gray color palette create an atmosphere of pure, unbroken tension. If you crave historical storytelling with zero compromises, maximum stakes, and a profound emotional core that lingers long after the credits roll, this is an essential, heart-wrenching masterpiece that will leave you absolutely breathless. At the absolute summit of our list stands the definitive crown jewel of raw historical epics, Mel Gibson's towering masterpiece, Braveheart. This is a cinematic storm of mud, blood, and unyielding conviction, chronicling William Wallace's transition from a peaceful farmer into a legendary revolutionary leader after a brutal personal tragedy shatters his quiet life. What makes Braveheart the ultimate, undisputed peak of this genre is its magnificent refusal to compromise on physical scale. Long before computer-generated imagery sanitized modern action cinema, the production deployed over 1,500 real members of the Irish Army Reserve to clash in the Irish mud, bringing a terrifying, bone-crushing weight to every single swing of the sword. Shot through John Toll's breathtaking anamorphic lenses, the film paints the rugged Scottish Highlands in muted slates, deep blues, and natural torchlight, grounding its operatic emotional stakes in a gritty, windswept reality. If you crave a cinematic experience that honors the sheer gravity of sacrifice and delivers an unforgettable, soul-stirring battle for human dignity, this is the undisputed giant of the genre that demands your immediate devotion. And that's our list of 10 masterpiece historical epics with zero compromise stakes. If you appreciate the craft, hit subscribe and join the community. Between the brutal realism of The Last Duel and the kinetic chaos of Ran, which of these films best captures the terrifying cost of legacy? If you were drawn to those intense, non-linear narratives, you'll love my video on 10 mind-bending time travel movies that will destroy your perception of reality. So click the video on screen right now.